All right. This is it. Now, you all know me, so I'm going to say this as simply as I can. If it's our time to die, it's our time. All I ask is if we have to give our lives, you listen to this episode of the Retro Rewind podcast before we do.
And there was much rejoicing.
Reflux capacitor fluxing. Crew to stations. Scanning for The Matrix Revolutions 2003. Prepare to rewind in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, Rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games from 15 or more years ago. I'm your captain of the pod, Francisco Ruiz, and I'm joined by your mutinous XO and mine, Paul, the Master Interrupter Powers.
Welcome back, Captain. We missed you.
Also, for this discussion of the film The Matrix Revolutions, we welcome back aboard the tactics officer of the pod, Quitos Ruiz.
Thank you, Francisco. Thank you, Paul. I'm glad to be back.
Very glad to have you back to join us again for the last Matrix. I think you're going to be our hat trick. You've been in every single Matrix episode, so good on you.
Yes.
And then we also, in addition to Quitos, we have our clergy officer of the pod, Dallas Mora. Welcome, Dallas.
What's going on, man?
What's going on with you?
Glad to have you back, since you helped review the first Matrix movie.
Right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm like, but he wasn't on the last one. Oh, yeah, you mean just of these two. Indeed, it is glad to have you back, Dallas. It is good to have you back, I should say. And now that you have a not-so-quick flyby of who we all are, Paul, can you give us a quick overview of the production specs for The Matrix Revolutions?
All right. Tron was released July 9th, 1982.
Tron?
What? Yeah, Tron enters a computerized world and fights for the users.
Oh, my God.
That's this movie.
This is The Matrix Revolutions, not Tron Legacy, not something else.
It's where he fights.
Revolution, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Which one is this? Resurrections?
Revolutions.
Oh,
Paul.
Revolutions. All right. The Matrix Revolutions, if you want to cover that one, is October 27th in the year 2003. It runs 9 minutes over the 2-hour mark and is rated R. It was directed and written by the Wachowski brothers, or whoever they're going by now, and the lead stars being Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fisher, and Carrie-Anne Moss. With
Lawrence Fishburne, not Lawrence Fisher.
Oh, him too. And he made a cameo in there. And the music was composed by Don Davis. Are you ready for the box office trivia?
I am ready. Quitos, are you ready?
I am ready.
Dallas?
Let's go.
All right. And everyone watching live, feel free to join in as well. Go for it, Paul.
The Matrix Revolutions was made for around $110 to $150 million and earned over $425 million at the box office.
Ooh.
So given this and the fact that it was released theatrically in the year 2003, how high in the box office do you think it ranks among the other movies released in 2003? We'll go for the top 50.
Well, I will say, if I recall the last last box office, Lord of the Rings Return of the King got number 1, Matrix Revolution, or Matrix Reloaded got number 3, Finding Nemo got number 2. So it's not in the top 3, I know that much.
Spoilers. It is in the top 50, though.
I'm trying to help out our guest. So,
Okay.
Quitos, what's your guess?
Let's see. I would guess maybe slot number 10.
It's slot number 10. All right. How about you, Dallas?
I'm going to go 20.
20. Ooh, way down there. I am going to guess. I'm going to price this right, Quitos, and say 9.
Oh. Should have went the other way. Oh, wait. No, not there yet.
Oh my gosh, Paul. And let's see. In chat, we have several guesses. People watching live say Cardinal, who is on our Reloaded episode, he guesses 2. Which not sure why, but okay, 2. Cellcast guesses 6. Oh, he changed it? Oh, to 4. Okay. Cellcast guesses 6. Neko guesses 27. All right. Paul, what was the actual placement in the box office for Matrix Revolutions?
All right. Nathan also suggested 5, and that's
Nathan?
our Bobo came in at 42.
Of course.
Which he's lucky he guessed that because he's totally wrong. It was number 8, which
Number
the captain
8.
wins again.
Yes. 2 for 2. Sorry, Kitos.
No, Kitos, you almost had it.
Yeah.
Well,
He always waits till everybody else answers theirs.
Yep.
that doesn't mean I'm always right.
Hashtag cheater.
Oh my
Sorry.
gosh, I don't cheat. Oh my. Well, thank you for those factoids, Paul. And let's see if any of them factor into our memory mind melt or subsequent roundtable discussion, which we will get into once Alice has located our target film.
Alert, alert. Approaching target. Spoilers incoming. Establishing analysis vector.
6 hours ago, I was ready to give anything for you. Do you know what's changed in the last 6 hours? Nothing.
You are really ready to die for this man.
You don't think you're coming back?
I'm scared, Trin.
So am I.
If she has to, she'll kill every one of us. She's in love. Believe it.
Everything that has a beginning has an end.
Rated R starts Wednesday, November 5th.
Everything that has a beginning has an end, even if it's our memories. They had an expiry date, I'm sure, something like that. And let's see how much we ended up remembering given that their expiry date of 2003. Agent Smith goes into the real world like people go into the Matrix. Neo attempts to board a train that exists between the real world and the Matrix and realizes he doesn't have a ticket to ride. Wow. And he's not okay, especially after he gets his butt kicked again. Machines want Neo to stop Agent Smith, but they also send machines to invade and obliterate Zion because machine logic? Neo and Trinity head to the machine city by themselves while everyone else defends Zion. Trinity dies and Neo and Smith have a anime final boss fight in the rain. Neo sacrifices himself and all of the sun, the humans and machines play nice.
Agent Smith went into the real world in the previous movie, not this movie.
Oh, dun dun dun. So totally decepted. Yeah, our memories were so flawed because of that one. But based on those memories, what rating did they lead you to predict before rewatching this film? Classic, nostalgic, or tragic? I'm going to start with Dallas this time. What was your prediction for The Matrix Revolutions?
I gave it a nostalgic.
Nostalgic. How about for you, Kitos?
I give it a nostalgic as well.
Nostalgic as well. Paul?
I really liked the Matrix movies when they first came out, and I haven't seen these in a while. But instead of rating it a classic like I predicted the Reloaded one, I remember not liking it as much. So I also predicted nostalgic.
Oh, okay. Nostalgic. Do I remember right, Paul and Kitos, that we all, the 4 of us, and I think maybe Paul's wife too, watched this in the theater together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's so
true,
cool.
yeah.
Or 3 of us, I should say. And 4 with Paul's wife.
Yeah, but I will also say I have not yet decided on a final rating. I'm stuck between 2. So depending on how this podcast goes will help determine my final rating.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll find out. I predicted classic. I've always liked these sequels. I can't ever remember watching them and not liking them. So I predicted classic for this time. But it'll be interesting to see if those predictions pan out. But for now, let's get into our discussion. Let's boot up, dial in, enter into our like section for The Matrix Revolutions. It's time for our
Best 3.
or best 2 in this case. Let's begin with Kitos this time. What's one thing you liked about The Matrix Revolutions?
Something that I actually really enjoyed was the actor playing Bane. when he's
imitating
Smith in the real world, he does such a good job.
My gosh, yes.
That I couldn't believe I wasn't looking at what's his name, Hugo Weaving.
Hugo
right?
Weaving, yeah.
It was just so spot on, and the way he talked about his look through my eyes, right? Look past the flesh and everything, and like I could feel it. I could see Agent Smith. It was crazy. It was so good.
That was the same actor.
Oh, really? Is that close? Amazing.
That was the same actor. So that's cool. They gave him the opportunity to do that. But like, it wasn't until this last viewing, Kitos, that I was like, oh my god, that's a different person, actually.
Yeah. Played by Ian Bliss was the name of the actor that played Bane.
He had everything right, except I wish he spoke slower. He spoke a little too fast for Agent Smith. I was like,
did you watch this at 2x speed, Paul?
No, that would have been worse. But I wish that they could half it, because he didn't chew the scenery, for lack of a better word, as much as like really taking it slow and getting there.
That's fair.
Maybe he didn't adjust to the real world yet, because the Matrix has to deal with CPU cycles, so it can only move so fast.
Oh, maybe he was hopped up on energy drinks or something.
Ram all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, guys. Okay, that's totally fair, Kitos. And I agree. I thought he did an amazing performance as a Agent Smith,
and
aka Hugo Weaving.
Wannabe.
An Elrond wannabe, Paul. Jeez, I was there, Gandalf. I was there when it happened. Dallas, what's something you liked about not the Lord of the Rings, but the Matrix Revolutions?
I really liked actually Hugo Weaving. And
yes, absolutely.
Just the character Smith, but Hugo Weaving also, and then obviously the guy who played Bane. The diatribes the character goes on and the way that's executed, I think Hugo does a great job. I think Kitos was right. The guy who played Bane was a little too fast. No, that was Paul that said that. But
Paul said that.
Yeah,
but the diatribes, the talking through stuff, the making people go, like, because even when he's giving his diatribe, he has a way of making you go, wait, is he right? Like,
oh yeah,
is he right in this situation? Because you're trying to follow the path.
Yeah,
such these logical arguments, like
yeah, he's more entertaining than the architect was.
Oh my goodness. I totally agree, guys. Hugo Weaving was fantastic. Paul I think Hugo Weaving was your like from Reloaded. Did he carry on to be your like in this film?
I did like him. He didn't have as many his dialogue was a little less than this. Maybe that's because it was portrayed by Bane a little bit more. So it didn't quite make my like list. One thing that really stood out to me in this watch was Morpheus's suit of when he was in it was like purple underneath and like a coat over it.
That's funny.
Really sharp.
I noticed his suit more too. Like I could tell his tie in Reloaded had a very Matrix look to it. Like like a pattern that looked Matrix E, and this one is more solid green, but there's still a pattern and texture to it. Yeah, I noticed that a lot more in Morpheus as well.
I don't usually notice costumes as much, but that stood out. I was like, that's really well done. Like,
yeah, totally.
But
own wardrobe now.
I was wondering. I wonder if I look good in that.
Do it, Paul. That'd
but
be amazing.
I don't think I could pull it off like Lawrence Fishburne could.
Fair. So that was your like though. Was it just Morpheus's costume or all the costumes in general?
Unlike Kitos from Reloaded, I enjoyed the dynamic between Morpheus and Niobe and General
Locke.
Grumpy Pants. Yeah. Just because it added an extra dynamic, just seeing how they reacted to one another, I think it helped boost the story, made it more interesting to me.
All right, that's fair.
No, it's actually interesting because I agree with you in this movie, Paul. I think it actually does do better in this specific movie, not so much in Reloaded. Yeah.
Okay. Fascinating.
Yeah, that is
very cool. For me, something that I liked was I felt like Don Davis's score gets better with each of these movies. I feel like this is definitely the culmination of an amazing score, especially in the last final battle. It's just so good, and so certainly in the first one they leaned more on like Rob Zombie and Prodigy and other music, like actual like
heavy metal stuff, or there's none here, or the previous movie.
Yeah, exactly. And so the way he ramps it up, I really appreciate it, and feel like it just gets better and better with each film, which is the way I feel like it should be.
More of a score than the first one. The first one,
exactly.
And in music videos, this was like we're actually creating something here.
Exactly, absolutely.
Which I'm not gonna lie, the first one really jacked up me with when I was making videos at first. So I'm sitting going, I need to do like these rock songs and stuff like this for my videos. And just kind of as I'm matured as making videos, I'm like, no, it's a score. We need to create a feel and atmosphere.
Yeah, the score for me is 10-1. So
it's funny that you mentioned that, Francisco, because that's a funny trivia about it. That the like Matrix sound and everything, they actually up the key every movie to make it feel like you're ascending.
Oh, I think I read that. Yes. Yeah. You mean sort of that dun, dun, no, that part, or just in general?
That beginning like horns and stuff.
That's cool. I wonder if someone like on YouTube you can hear it back to back to back just so you could see the progression. Like if someone's put a cut of that together, but
probably, yeah.
Everything's on YouTube, or Rumble or Library. I mean, there's alternative platforms to YouTube. I'm not going to get all on that course. I'm not going to rage against the machine right here.
Why don't you just say YouTube a couple more times to pick up on their algorithms?
All right, so we've all gone over the things we liked about Matrix Revolutions, but what did we love the most? How did this culmination to the Matrix trilogy really appeal to us the most? Let's start with Paul.
The special effects in this just blew me away. I remember it back at the time, especially like the fighting on the, what do they call it? The dock with the entrance. There's so many machines, and at the speed that they're going, there's so many layers.
Yeah,
it's surprising to me that it didn't win best special effects. I mean, Lord of the Rings: Return of the King won.
Yeah,
but to me, this was better. Maybe it's because there were, like I said, so many layers, and compared to like fantasy world fighting, I don't know, that may have been a little more fake in my eyes. But like I was just blown away by the special effects, especially in the battle scenes.
So I'm gonna piggyback off that for my classic maker, because the hammer and trying to get to Zion, and then the Zion battle is just such a great thrilling ride. I mean, just that whole sequence is just so intense and visceral and driving, and I just get there. Oh, it's just opening. Oh, you're almost there. And then the APU's just fighting, and Kid trying to like kick in the ammo into Mifune's thing, and then him picking it up and like, okay, just squeeze the trigger gently, and he goes, and I thought it was so great. I just thought that whole sequence was fantastic. The special effects, like you were saying, Paul, were fantastic. I'm surprised they held up as well as they did.
Yeah,
I was very pleasantly surprised at that. So that was my classic maker. Dallas, what was the thing you loved the most about Revolutions?
Well, now I got to pick something else, because you got and then just the effects of that fight scene, especially when the swarm of the Sentinels came.
Yes.
Like when he was shooting at the swarm, and there was like this buildup of pressure before they.
Yeah.
Exciting. It was awesome. So I got to choose something else. I'm going to go.
Okay.
It wasn't my top tier, but was up there. I actually like some of the stuff with the kid and the captain.
Yes. Me too. Yes.
Just the interaction with him, because really it's reminiscent of like what you saw take place with like the Great Wars, where you had these 16-year-olds who were like, I'm going to join, and they're like, you can't, kid, and they're like, the enemy doesn't care how old I am, I'm here to fight.
That was a great line. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely. And so you have this like you see the captain, like he grows to respect the kid as a kid. I don't think kid's actively trying to impress him, but he's like, I really am here to do what I'm going to do.
Right.
I appreciated that growth of the kid, especially when you I know you guys in the last episode, you guys talked about the animated short, The Kid.
Yes.
From the Matrix, where he frees himself, and he's in that world, he was kind of a lone loser. You know, nobody really cared about him. He was in the background. And of course, Neo frees him, or not frees him, but kind of opens his eyes to free himself.
Exactly.
Which is an anomaly in of itself. And so seeing him, that transformation of, that was his story arc, from this loser kid to this, I'm here to fight, down to the point where he's the one that opened the doors for the hammer to make an end, to fire off the EMP. And those final words of Neo, I believe, before he does it, that's what he says right as he jumps off the building to free himself. And so that's his whole driving force, is like, I believe in this. That Neo was not just a person, it was a cause as a whole.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
the whole story with that.
Your classic maker of Matrix Revolutions is the Animatrix.
So it's the whole thing, like
exactly, Paul,
and everything.
Oh, the continuous
also the special
story
effects you took from me, Paul.
All right, fair enough.
Did we take your classic maker and all of that, Kitos?
No, but I mean, mine runs right alongside your guys's. It was so hard to choose a classic maker for this one. There was so much goodness in this movie. I guess really the one that speaks the most to me, right, is just that end section where Neo and Trinity are going to the Machine City, right? And he destroys all the incoming missiles, but he knows it's not enough, so they have to figure something else out. And so they launch all the way into the sky, and they actually see what the honestly
what
the heavens look like.
Sun. Yeah, exactly. That's such a beautiful picture.
And then they go back in knowing they have to finish everything. You know, and then Neo has to go alone. It's just the whole section I was just so enamored with. And then the Machine City itself, like the visuals of it all and everything, and the speaker, I don't know what to call it, but whatever that thing is, it's
called Deus Ex Machina, which I don't think that's a great name for it because of what that means, but that is the name of it. But that thing was very cool. I remember like getting shivers watching that in the theaters, but I still get shivers watching it now.
Kind of spiky.
Oh, cool. Kind of spiky, yes, just a bit, Paul.
But
awesome.
That whole end part, I was just it was hard to just look away from the screen. It was so good.
You should see it, Trinity. It's so beautiful.
I know.
Wow.
This thing is great.
Yeah, I mean, and there was. Oh, you know what? I will say, Jesus, there was so much good because there's something else I forgot I liked.
Yeah.
Stunning and Brave. Each week, Chris Cowan of the Babylon Bee and Nate Henderson of Some Boring Budgeting Job confess their privilege, spotlight stunning social media posts, and fabricate outrage, all while keeping you super woke and enlightened. They will make you laugh. That's right, you have no choice. Check out Stunning and Brave at stunningandbrave.net.
Yeah, choice is an illusion. But what does that have to do with Matrix Revolutions?
Well, Paul, it was the visuals were stunning, and Neo and Trinity were very brave to go it alone.
All right, fine. Yeah, sure. We'll go with that. Okay.
All right, fine. Here's some trivia. Okay, that's not as weak a connection with Matrix Revolutions.
Okay.
Did you all realize that the late Gloria Foster, who played the original Oracle in Matrix and Matrix Reloaded, and her replacement, Mary Alice, had played sisters in a long-running Broadway play, something which casting director Mally Finn remembered when she was looking at around for a replacement for Foster.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize that. To answer your question.
That wasn't my question, though, Paul.
You asked, did you realize?
Okay, all right. But I guess that was an implied question.
But
my trivial question to you guys is, if any of the leads of the Matrix movies, so we'll keep them to Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, Lawrence Fishburne, and Hugo Weaving, if any of those four had died somewhere between movies,
Carrie-Anne Moss died twice.
Who, not the actual actress died.
Oh.
Who do you think would have been a good replacement for them? So you can pick any of those four to replace.
Will Smith to replace Trinity. No.
Are you saying that because Will Smith was the original pick for Neo back in the Matrix?
Yeah. But honestly, I think he would have been a good replacement. I'm trying to picture the time as for Morpheus.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they had done like some sort of backstory where his shell got changed or whatever, that would have been interesting. Maybe.
So if Will Smith replaced Lawrence Fishburne for Morpheus?
Yeah.
Okay.
Although I do like Curtis Cowboy, but
I don't know who that is.
Watch Pee-wee's Playhouse and you'll see Lawrence Fishburne play Curtis the Cowboy.
Oh, that's right. Neko says Sean Connery. For which one? Though it is funny that you mentioned Sean Connery, Neko, because I was reading that Sean Connery was the original who they wanted for the architect, but apparently he read the script and didn't understand what was going on, so he said no.
That would have been cool.
That would have been cool. I agree. Douse, who would you replace?
Well, since as we brought out in this podcast already, Hugo Weaving's character, Mr. Smith, was played really well by somebody else in the film. In the
Endless, yeah.
I would guess that guy.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
It really did mess me up as a kid. I'm like, it's the same actor. And then yesterday when I rewatched, I was like, it's not the same person.
That's funny. And how about you, Kitos?
Wow. This is actually kind of a tough one.
Well, yeah.
I would replace. Okay, here we go. I would replace Hugo Weaving with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, that would be great.
Because, he's trying to kill all the humans.
Oh, come on, do it. Kill me now.
Not Robert Patrick, the T-1000, but Arnold Schwarzenegger. All right, that's grand.
Along that kind of similar, I would think it would be funny to replace Lawrence Fishburne with Jim Gaffigan.
Who's you mentioned that name? Who is that again? I don't know why I can't
He's like the whitest of white. He's a comedian.
Oh, okay.
Hot Pocket.
I don't get it, but okay.
That's funny.
Oh goodness. So there's your trivial question, Paul.
All right. Great trivia, Francisco. Do you have a replacement in mind?
I think it would be kind of interesting if you replaced Keanu Reeves with Ben Stiller. I think that'd be an interesting replacement.
I'm sorry, I'm just thinking Zoolander and The Matrix.
I was thinking more Globo Gym owner from Dodgeball, but sure, we can go with that. Oh no! Never mind. Cancel that. Apparently, we're all replacing Hugo Weaving. Hugo Weaving, we hope you don't die anytime soon. Hugo Weaving, I'd replace with Tim Curry. I think that'd be pretty epic.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Wow.
That would be good.
What do you mean, Matrix?
I feel like that would have turned the Matrix from an action movie to a horror movie.
Oh yeah,
real quick.
Yeah,
a pretty rocky horror movie.
Yeah.
Picture that.
Let's leave it alone and go on to our memories. And as our awesome rewinders had left us for The Matrix Revolutions.
So Matthew Cosby says, remember liking it much more than the second time. Sorry, Matthew. He says, remember liking it much more the second time than I did the first, like the first time watching it, I think.
Yeah. And not the movie It, but the movie Matrix Revolution.
Don't worry, I got a clue, Paul.
Okay. David Garner says, my dad accidentally put the French language track on. So why, Mr. Anderson, why became pourquoi, Monsieur Anderson, pourquoi? A line we still quote.
Would you say that's legendary?
Peter Pan and the Dark Pirates, Dark Waters? No, sorry.
If you are getting this joke, this running gag we're getting, please let us know on Discord or Facebook or Twitter. I'm curious who is getting this joke right now.
No one, Mr. Anderson. No one.
Oh my gosh. And then the Dapper Man says, never seen it, never been interested.
What? How can you not be interested? Anyway.
Well, you know what? Maybe there's reasons not to be interested in this movie, and we're going to talk about those possibilities in our dislike section, which Alice is going to boot up right now. Or worse, too. And let's begin with Kitos this time. What's something you just really disliked about Matrix Revolutions.
Okay. The one of the things that bothered me, right, was when the machines are in the dock and actually killing everyone, right? They fly in like patterns and stuff, and they don't just like immediately kill everyone. Like there's no efficiency in what they're doing.
That's a good point. Yeah.
They could have easily have taken that dock once that initial push actually got through.
If they spread out evenly from each other, like like a net over an attack, that makes much more sense than a tube kind of thing where we
exactly
concentrate all your fire on that starship.
Exactly.
I will say that being in that sort of form allows it for, if you just shoot one, like let's say they were all spread out, like one machine per person, it'd be easier for that one person to take out that one machine pretty easily in the APU units, I should say, as opposed to a swarm of them coming at you in this big tube thing. But it's also easier to hit the big tube thing than just one erratically moving toward you.
It makes sense if they were all going after like a core, like headquarters spot where
we're trying to check out the middle part, that light source at the beginning, which once they did that though, I think it doesn't make sense to continue that.
I agree.
Yeah, that's absolutely valid. That's why you're the tactics officer.
Exactly.
So you need to program the Matrix Sentinels to do a better job next time.
I am the architect.
Wow. Dallas, what's something you didn't enjoy?
This is petty-ish, but I didn't enjoy the fact that the movie can't stand on its own. Like, you have to have watched Revolutions or Reloaded to get into this at all.
That's a good point.
Like, you start off, I mean, really, it was one movie. They just cut into two pieces, which I get that. That's a thing. But it is. I mean, it is not a standalone. It is completely and utterly reliant on you seeing minimum Reloaded.
Right.
What trilogies do you feel like the third one does stand on its own? Because I think
Superman 3.
Return of the King doesn't stand on its own without seeing the other two. And
The Rings.
I'm just giving an example. I'm not assuming you like it.
Indiana Jones. That one.
See, okay. All right. When the story's a continuation, it's not an episodic trilogy. It's a serialized trilogy.
Making it more hard. Name a third part that doesn't fit. Example 1, 2, 3. No, besides those.
It's a legitimate question. This is a serialized trilogy, not an episodic one. So you have to be apples to apples.
So Toy Story 3?
I don't know. I haven't seen Toy Story 3, so I don't know.
Well, there you go. Aha. Moving on.
Win in that argument.
All right. Okay. But that's, you know what, for you, Dallas, if that's something that you would have liked to have seen stand on its own more, maybe more of just its own arc, as in addition to being part of this greater arc, I can get that.
It's an arc, but it's like it needed to be able to have a definite open and close that I can go 6 months and go, hey, let's watch the third movie, and go, yeah, all right, let's watch the third movie. Not me sitting there for the first 20 minutes going, what the crap happened in the last movie?
Okay, let me ask you this. When was the last time you watched Reloaded?
Last year.
Okay. So, and when was the last time you watched this? Right before this podcast. I would say, okay. I don't know. I feel like it's enough. They give you enough of a lead in, but that's,
if you watch the trailer ahead of time, you're good to go.
I am only the captain of the pod. I do not speak for everyone. So if it was not a good, if it did not start well for you, fair, totally fair.
And Nathan Marchand is right. Star Trek Beyond stands on its own. That's a third.
Isn't Star Trek's episodic?
Yeah.
What about Austin
that's
Powers?
not the point.
Austin Powers Goldfinger.
I haven't seen it. I don't know.
Well, there you go. Now you can't all the ones you can't argue
Fine,
against.
whatever, guys. Paul, what's something you don't like?
Well, because this is serialized, unfortunately, Matrix Revolutions, like Reloaded, continues not to make sense. Why Neo's mind is in both worlds. I mean, why can't he figure out how to get out of the train station? Just go through the code.
That's a different program, Paul. It's like
exactly,
it's like
but he can
knows,
see the code.
No,
he can get out of it.
No,
it doesn't make go through the code that keeps him there.
Paul, listen. It's like he is he's the prodigy, the savant of C++, but this code is ran in Visual Basic, so he doesn't know what to do with it. He can't parse it.
It's still code, whether it's C++ or Java, he could still fly right through it.
One is object oriented, the other is not. It's functional.
All right, fine.
So you can't figure it out.
Versus yeah, fine. Either way, it doesn't make sense to me.
All right. Tell us with the sequels and you with the code.
Does it make sense to you that he's stuck in this?
Yes, it does make sense to me.
That's
makes perfect
in the
sense.
Matrix. These are based on computer programs within the Matrix.
Yes, but he isn't familiar with. He's familiar with the Matrix computer program, not all computer programs.
Yes, but this is within the Matrix because the train man and the French guy are all within the Matrix.
It's not. No, the train is its separate thing. There's the Matrix, there's the real world, and the train is the interlink between the two.
Yeah, the train is a USB device sitting outside the computer.
Oh, he's in a dongle. Okay, so how can his brain be in a dongle and in the real world and knowing? Yeah.
Oh, where's that train go to?
The Matrix.
It goes through the USB wire to the computer.
Actually, that's a good point because they were sending Sati to.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
How does program that this program, the train guy build this construct if it's a dongle? It's a program.
No. I think what I don't think I'm answering your question, Paul, but to Dallas's question. So the Matrix is where all the humans sort of exist, and there are some programs that are needed to be there. But if you're not a program needed to be there to help the humans exist so that they can be batteries, then you're not supposed to be there. But Saudi
where are they supposed to be?
Was a child that wasn't needed in the machines, like sort of construct, or I don't know why these machines are humanized, but
the operating system,
I guess. Yeah, the GUI for the machine world is operating, and they had a child, two of them, so they sent their child into the humans Matrix world to exist.
And I'm having a hard
through
time
the train.
Neo's there at where the Frenchman is, which is in the Matrix.
Right.
Yes, that's true.
The same world that Sati's in.
Right. Yes.
It's the same world where Oracle lives, where they took Sati out of the Matrix to go into.
No, they didn't take her out of the Matrix. They took her from the machine world into the Matrix.
It's not the machine world. The machine world is the real world. So there's an in-between machine world.
No.
There's like another level.
Yeah, there's like hardware and there's software, and then there's firmware. There's lots of different layers to it.
No.
Yeah. Clear as mud, I think. Let's go to my just like, how about that, guys?
That's my point. It's clear as mud. That's what I did in Mike.
All right, fair. Something that is very just so shallow, but I don't know I don't think it was my the particular screen I was looking at, because it happened on different screens also. But especially when Neo was in the train station, it looked like you can see I have like a 5 o'clock shadow now. Those of you watching live, like there's a little like darkening around, where I'd have a beard. I swear what Neo has for that, it might as well have been he had like leftover paint, like green paint on his cheek. It was so weird looking. It looked like I didn't
notice that.
I saw this on 2 different screens, so I don't think it was that.
Maybe you're just self-conscious about your own 5 o'clock shadow, that his stands out more.
Is mine green, guys? Is it green?
For Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, guys. So that was something I didn't like. I know it's very, very picky, and it may just be the resolutions I was looking on, but yeah, it looks overly green, his 5 o'clock shadow, like his face was painted.
Well, that's part of his self-image that they described in the first Matrix.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense. Why didn't he turn into the Hulk? Like, if you can change your self-image, like, why be that the whole time?
I suppose if anyone could do it, he could. I don't know if he likes the way he looks, Paul.
Well, he must like his green 5 o'clock shadow. I don't know what to tell you.
That makes legitimately a side structure of the color grading.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, color grain or not, what did we hate most about Matrix Revolutions? Let's start with Dallas.
this is gonna be difficult because there was a lot of good stuff to it.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Interesting.
There's a lot of good stuff to it. There's a lot of slow things to it though, also. But my main thing is some of the animation, the green screen did not age well at all in this film.
Mm-hmm. For instance,
parts.
So like when the two ladies are trying to like blow up the machine, they come up out of the sewer.
Yeah,
like it's very clearly like it's a green screen, and it's kind of awkwardly matched together.
Mm-hmm.
And I checked it because I watched it originally streaming, and I was like, well, maybe they upgraded the
compression or something.
They did remake it. They not remake it. Remaster it.
Yeah.
So there are 2 different versions out there.
Oh, I watched the DVD that was released in the nice coated box.
Yeah,
set?
That was before the remaster.
Okay, yeah.
When they went to 4K, they remastered it a little.
Oh, okay.
So
neat.
But when they I was about to say it's not just the 4K, but they were the Blu-rays and everything when they released it at the same time was remastered. So,
well,
it depends on what version.
And it was the same awkwardness in that scene. It's just like,
okay,
it's just there's a weird disconnect there, and the other like green screen scenes are like, that's not as nice as it could as I recall it being years ago.
Yeah,
like some of the fight scenes, like when it was practical fight scenes, it was lit. It was great.
Yes,
like when Neo does the final mega punch on
the rubber
Smith.
Face.
Yeah,
I mean it's just you're like, what am I watching? It was like a
Looney Tunes
Virtua Fighter cutscene or something like that.
No, it's slow-mo guys on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's exactly like that.
Sure. Like I don't know. There were several times where they got rubbery, especially when they were flying. Like,
in the Matrix, you have to change your construct, like we were talking to, but to a more rubbery surface to handle the air pressure of the Matrix.
Okay, yeah.
He would be great at this fight scene right now.
Yeah, Clay fighters.
We need somebody to redo this with Gumby now.
Oh my gosh,
that's what that fight scene felt like the entire.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen? This is more like Reloaded, but you mentioned seeing it redone with Gumby. Have you guys seen the Super Mario Brothers?
Yes, I was hoping you'd say Mario because I love that scene.
It's the Matrix Reloaded, the Burly Brawl, where Neo's find all the Agent Smiths. It's redone with Mario versus a bunch of Luigis.
Yeah, it's so great.
I haven't seen that. That's funny.
Yeah, it's fun. But yeah, I agree with you. Were you done, Dallas, or did you have more to say about that?
Just the some of the graphics age well, and then like what Paul said in the last episode of Retro Rewind, it's like that they went downgraded when some fight scenes when they go to slow motion and everything. It just got super rubbery, and it didn't make sense to do that.
I'll piggyback off that one, Dallas, with my Tragic Maker, because I felt like the final Neo Smith fight, it had great moments, especially when it was like inside, out of the rain, and they were actually fighting.
Yes.
It was great, but when it was outside, for the most part, I like
when they combined, and then all of a sudden this bubble of air.
That was cool.
Yeah,
but that was just single punches. That wasn't actually choreography. That was just like one cool punch, and then. The only other part of being outside I liked was when Neo flew around and the lightning sort of lit right behind him as he went in for the charge. I thought that was really cool. Yeah. And Agent Smith with the lightning as he conquers Neo was cool. But I just would have preferred a more like the fight in the first one in the train station. I thought that was just great and fantastic and kinetic, and I lost it in this.
Why are they fighting? Neo knows already.
Should just
not
go
to
in Agent Smith. Yes, I know,
right.
Paul.
Which leads to my
why, Mr. Anderson? Why?
Yes. The ending of this film doesn't make sense to me. All right, now maybe you can explain it to me, but I do not get the end. Okay, so this is how I understand, and please correct me where I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Agent Smith has been quote unquote freed. That's why he gives the earpiece to Neo in Reloaded to say, hey, I freed myself from the Matrix. They are no longer controlling me.
Yes.
So far, we're on the right track. Okay.
Yeah.
So in order for the computers or the machines, in order for them, they want to regain control of
the Matrix.
Of Agent Smith, or at least stop him from causing chaos. Is that correct?
Here's my understanding.
So in order to do that, they plug into Neo, and so that Neo can be in the Matrix with Agent Smith. And because they're plugged in, as soon as Agent Smith like copies himself onto Neo, then the machines have access to Agent Smith's coding and they can stop him.
That's my thinking. Yes, I think that's what it is. Yes.
All right. So Francisco agrees. What were you saying, Dallas?
It's kind of like Neo becomes a Trojan horse virus.
Okay. So
Or
my
the carrier
question
for the
is,
Trojan horse. Yeah.
why can't anybody that's plugged into the Matrix already carry that Trojan virus in there? Why does it have to be Neo at that moment?
I have a thing, right? I think I understand what you're saying, Paul, right? It's the reason it has to be Neo is because when Morpheus took Neo out of the Matrix in the first movie, right? The code became unbalanced. Or actually not even when Morpheus took him out. When Morpheus took him out, right? The one's code no longer exists in the Matrix, right? Then when Neo starts doing all his stuff, right, and believes he's the one, right, and starts changing code, right, that's when the equation's like, whoa, we don't have the one anymore, we can't balance this, so Smith becomes a thing, right? That's how he's freed.
I thought he was freed just by whatever Neo jumping into him.
Neo doing that causes the code to figure a way to balance it and freeze Smith. It's like, okay, if there's this super free entity, we free this one to fight it. So the fact that Neo's no longer in the Matrix, like plugged in, like full on plugged in, like how the machines had him originally, means they can't access his code anymore at all.
Okay.
They can't
but they
access
don't have a
the one's
copy of
code
it backed up somewhere.
Yeah, again, because this is kind of what I was saying in the other episode we did, right? Is because he this is my theory is the code doesn't exist until Neo writes it. The person writes it and by making choices.
That makes sense.
So the machines need Neo to transfer their virus.
They need him to put his code back into the Matrix for them to control it.
But anytime he enters the Matrix, then that's there.
No, because he's not actually in the Matrix.
He's not plugged into the Matrix. They're just broadcasting the hack signal into the Matrix.
Exactly.
That's him plugging in.
No, it's not. It's not, because it's Wi-Fi versus hardline versus Ethernet.
Either way, you're getting your email through.
Yeah, but there's no, like, I don't know how to describe it.
On a cloud device and be on your hard drive itself.
Yeah.
You're on your hard drive and you have your information there. You can access the cloud and pull extra information from your desktop, but it's not on your computer. It's on the cloud. So once
you can copy and paste it. Like,
oh my
God. I don't understand. And this movie does not explain well why it needs to be Neo and not just anybody else. Okay. So that's my tragic maker.
So
this whole thing builds up and it doesn't explain the reason why.
I think I'm following what Kitos is trying to say. I think I would need to come up with a better allegory or a visual way to describe what he's saying in order to explain it to you, Paul. So I'm going to explain a different route and say another possibility as to why it has to be Neo is going back to what we were making mention of in the last episode, in that, I forget if it's spiritual speculation or the core episode, but I think there's something about when Smith transmutates, or whatever you want to call it, creates a copy of himself into someone that is plugged into the Matrix. Whenever that happens, it interrupts the ability for the overlord, the architect or the overlords of the Matrix, whoever it is, to be able to see that signal of that person. So it cuts off immediately, so you can't get into it. But something about the one, Neo has some property that, because he's able to fight off that, he's able to fight off that virus. Like we should see that in Reloaded, how Agent Smith tries to assimilate him, but it doesn't work.
Right.
Because he has that property, he's able to then maybe hold it off in his core enough for the mutation to take over, but then for the Trojan horse to go through and spread throughout all the Agent Smiths. I can see that doesn't make any more sense, but that is my best shot.
Yeah.
I can see where there's a faint light at the end of that long windy tunnel, but I don't understand how to get there based on what I've seen in the movie. So
that's totally fair. Yeah. So that, but wait, so I lost track of whose Tragic Maker that was. Actually.
That was mine.
That was Paul's. Yeah.
It doesn't. This movie continues not to make sense, especially the ending, the whole climax.
All right,
this movie because he's obviously referring to the second movie.
Yes, continues like you said.
It's
a serial.
It's a serial. Well, then that leaves Kitos, I believe. What is your Tragic Maker for Matrix Revolutions?
So actually, mine is the same as Paul's.
Yeah.
No, I honestly, after rewatching this movie, right? I mean, obviously there could be some things I'm not getting right from the ending because there's a lot of symbolism and everything, right?
Right.
But
like
on a logical standpoint, honestly, I'm not so sure that the movie does a great job explaining what's actually happening.
Right.
You can make leaps and guesses as to what's happening, but the movie never really explains it. It just happens. And so that one I'm not really sure this one I'm not really sure does such a good job of like grounding itself like the others did, like the other two movies, which which kind of makes me very curious. Like rewatching this, I can now see why maybe they actually want to do another movie, a fourth one. Because there's
let us
a lot.
Explain.
There kind of is a lot of stuff that never really got resolved or understood or like really and it's fine if movies like leave things to the imagination, but this just made the leaps in logical knowledge.
That's fair. That's fair, guys.
One of the geniuses of the film franchise is the fact that the story continues in other mediums. We talked about the Animatrix episode. You guys brought up the Enter the Matrix. Yep.
Yeah.
The comic book. There was actually a game that takes place after this movie also.
Oh yeah.
That has a lot of stuff that takes place. And
wasn't there an MMO also?
That's the game I was talking about. And it takes place after this movie's over. And there's this little storyline actually where Morpheus dies in that, which is part of that's some of the
is that why he's not back?
Well, that's the thing is people are curious about that, if that's what they're doing or not. But all these extra sources, you almost have to become a connoisseur and take in every bit of this in order to really get the full grasp of everything. And I think it was a genius move, but at the same time, it's just too much for people to take in.
Yeah. You only get to get the hardcore of the hardcore. And I could see that. I don't know what it is. For whatever reason, it makes sense in my head how it could happen, Paul, but I can't make sense. I can't articulate it. So maybe I just
the Matrix, friends.
Is that why? Okay.
That's because you're a program.
Oh my gosh. So I can't explain it. Paul and Kitos, but I just sort of have a sense of what they're going for and why it makes sense. But I appreciate that it would be a Tragic Maker for you guys, because I have trouble articulating it, and so I appreciate the misunderstanding of it. Regardless, we've entered all our trajectories into the firing computer. Alice, you have a firing solution for us.
Firing solution complete. Rating salvo at the ready. On your mark.
Is she a program? Where did she get salvo authority from?
From me. Alrighty, guys, time for the moment of truth with The Matrix Revolutions. Do we rate it a classic? We'd recommend anyone go see this movie, whether or not they've seen it before. Again, stipulating that you have to have seen Matrix Reloaded because it's serialized and episodic. It doesn't stand on its own.
See, I told you you're a program. You even sound like one.
Oh, thanks for being okay with my dig at you there, Dallas. Do we rate it a nostalgic? It's not worth your time if you haven't seen it before, but if you have seen it before as maybe a kid or a young adult, it'd be worth watching again. Or is it a tragic? It's not worth anyone's time whether or not you've seen it before. Let's start with I'm going to start with Paul this time. I know that's uncalled for. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. You were waiting.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. By this point, you should have a decision. Yes. So I will start with you.
Okay. But as a fan of, I really like the Matrix movie and the stories as a whole. And this provides, I think it provides a decent enough ending, even though I don't understand it. But if you want to see some sort of resolution, was what it should be called, but maybe not because it doesn't really fully resolve it. Anyway, I'm going to call it nostalgic, but it's barely a nostalgic. Only if you enjoyed the Matrix movies and you want to see the story continue. If not, I would leave this one alone.
All right. Totally fair. So nostalgic from Paul, which with after a nostalgic prediction, Dallas, you predicted nostalgic as well. What was your final rating?
I wanted to like it more than the nostalgia because I'm a big fan of the franchise. I love the first Matrix.
Yeah.
I went back to the Retro Rewind podcast and we all rated it a unanimous our classic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And, but I mean, there were so many portions that were just so like, it took me out. There were I almost fell asleep during a few of the scenes. I'm not gonna
really. Oh my gosh!
Constant whispering. If I could do 3 tragic makers or things, the constant whispering was driving me nuts.
Huh? I don't remember them whispering, but okay.
Most of the movie, they're whispering, mostly because they're hiding from the Sentinels.
Shh, the machines. Let them hear you.
I'm going to give it a keep it nostalgic, but like Paul,
all right,
barely nostalgic. Like,
okay,
I want to go over that fence with you, Dallas.
You're a lot series together.
That's right, Dallas.
Alone, but,
all right. Okay, so nostalgic. Kitos, you also predicted nostalgic. Did it end up in that, or did it change for you?
Honestly, this was a really difficult one for me to decide. Like, it's on the line of classic and nostalgic. And if I had to just think about it just the movie by itself doesn't really hold up, forget the whole trilogy, all that stuff. Does the movie itself hold up? I would say if anything, it's definitely nostalgic.
All right. Okay.
But honestly, I'm such a fan of the Matrix, the world, the everything. I'm going to give it a classic.
All right. Classic for you.
Yeah.
Agrees. It doesn't stand on its own.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to stand on its own.
Hey, is Monty Python and the Holy Grail supposed to stand on its own?
Get out of here, Paul. Okay. For me, I mean, I really enjoyed the whole movie. Except for some of the fight choreography, I really enjoyed it. It made sense to me. Like I said, I don't know how to articulate why it made sense, but it did. So I'm going to give it a classic, guys. I enjoyed it. So we are at a draw. So we're going to go to our Rewind Republic, our patron supporters at the $5 level, and find out how they vote or how they rate the Matrix Revolutions. Francisco from the future, what do they say?
Yes, it is I, Francisco from the future. And with an overall rating of classic from our patrons in the Rewind Republic, the Retro Rewind podcast rates The Matrix Revolutions a disputed classic film. We recommend anyone go see this. Yes, you probably have to see Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix before this, but overall, we rate The Matrix Revolutions a classic film worth anyone's time to go and see today. All right, now back to Francisco and crew from the past.
Really? Okay.
Are you kidding me? Oh,
I guess.
I wanted.
Fine.
All right, fine.
Well,
maybe I should have changed my vote anyway.
You can't. You can't win them all, or can you? Well, thank you so much, our reflex capacitors, for your votes. And now that we have a final reign, it's time to get back to our own time. Good old 20XX.
20XX.
Contact online. Receiving incoming transmission.
Feels good to be back, but we wouldn't have been able to travel back to 2003 to begin with if it weren't for our amazing reflex capacitors, namely Jared Holzhauer, Deborah Powers, Brian Keane, Patrick Hicks, LJ Lowry, Chris Cowan, Chris Owens, Geek Devotions. Oh, you're right here. The Untold Podcast, James Kennison, Drew of the Cellcast, Ashley Cronenbitter, Pastor Deucin, Kenneth and Redeemed Otaku, That's Our Baba, Josh Adams, D. Tungsten, Andy Lewis, Jeff, The Dapper Man Reviews, Tony of the Retro Days, Mr. Lost, and Daryl Hafner, in addition to 10 other awesome patrons as well. Thank you all so much for keeping the gigawatts coming. And if you want to help us keep flying for as little as $1 a month and get bonus content for your generosity, head over to retrorewindpodcast.com/support to help us grow via Patreon, Subscribestar, or PayPal.
This stream is sponsored by PaulJPowers.com.
And while we're thanking our supporters, we also want to give a big Matrix virtual hug that doesn't have a virus in it to our guests for supporting us with their thoughts about Matrix Revolutions. So we'd like to go in alphabetical order. So we'll start with Dallas. Where can people find you online? Or is there anything cool you got going on that people should know about?
Yeah.
And have you ever covered the Matrix on Geek Devotions? I was wondering about that last time.
Yeah, actually, we did a whole month of Matrix content back.
Nice.
Oh, so this is all reruns.
What's a rerun?
You'll find out when you're older.
But yeah, geekdevotions.com is our website. And what we do is we release a weekly devotional on YouTube that's based off of geek culture. Our whole mission in life is to let people know they're loved. Our catchphrase is devoted geeks are devoted to let people know they're loved. Mm-hmm. Do that through geek culture. And so we create weekly videos on YouTube. We do Bible studies on Facebook. We do live streams on Twitch. We have a podcast called Com Talk by Geek Devotions, where we talk about general geekery, all kinds of stuff. And then also we just launched another podcast with a separate RSS feed called The Bottom Shelf, where we review terrible movies. And our catchline is that we watch terrible movies so you don't have to. And
would this be one of them?
No, he rated nostalgic. Stop it.
All right.
I mean, if you
middle shelf, maybe.
But anyway,
oh my gosh.
We've reviewed movies for like Plan 9 from Outer Space, Last Avatar. Last Airbender, and what was the most recent one? Oh, the original Dune.
Oh yeah. And you rate them as like top shelf, right? That they're worth your time.
Right.
Middle shelf. I forget what you say for middle shelf. What did you say?
Man, they're not as terrible as people say, but they're not good. And the bottom shelf, like this is bad. And then absolute trash, we put it in a fire pit and we burn it.
Gotcha. I'm curious. Have you thought about how you worked at Hollywood Video, I've heard. Isn't middle shelf actually the prime real estate because that's more eyeline than top shelf would be?
Well, it depends on what shelves you were looking at. My Hollywood that I worked at, we had shorter shelves, so it was actually the top shelf.
Okay, well, what if you have higher shelves?
What if you're a little person?
What if you're a little person? Well, then you get your friends to put you on your shoulders and you act like an adult.
I was about to say, isn't that Muppet Man?
Oh my gosh.
That's a terrible joke. I apologize. But no, first, if I didn't come up with the rating system, actually, this is what I do with Geek Devotions. I try to empower my team to do stuff. And let them create what they want to create with lines and boundaries. So this was the brainchild of one of my guys, John Harju, like Games with Strangers, all kinds of and Kevin, the Dapper Man, who does a whole YouTube channel of reviews. And so let's make it happen, guys. Let's have fun. And that's a lot of what I try to do also with my team is I empower them to do their own stuff.
Awesome. Very cool.
Hey, and Keithos, wake up. We didn't forget about you. How can people find you online? And is there anything cool you got going on people should know about?
Well, first they have to jack into the Matrix, and then
Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
So I run a tech support business. So if you need technical support, consulting on anything technology related, I can help you with that. Just go to my website, which is techsupport.online. It's TEQSUPPORT.online. Or you can find me on Twitter at CoolDeluxe, QOOLDELUXX.
So what if I have created this virtual reality system, and
Like
I
Meta?
have this a person, let's call him an agent, and he decides to go against my programming and he's replicating himself. Can I call you for help?
Yes. Yes, I will get you into contact with the source.
Fantastic.
And you'll have to give your life to reintegrate into the code.
End of line.
Talk about the new meta.
Oh my gosh. Let's move on. But thank you so much, Dallas and Kitos, for taking the time to be a part of this show. It is awesome having you both on. And thank you for you listening right now, whether this is your first time listening to the Retro Rewind podcast or you're a part of our Rad Rewinder community. You all who watch us live every week, or whether we're recording this podcast or playing retro games, you're all an amazing group of people helping sustain the pod. But if you are looking for ways to get involved in growing this Retro Rewind endeavor, reach out to us on social media, where we are at Retro Rewind Pod pretty much everywhere. You could buy some of our merch. You could leave us a review on your podcatcher of choice. You could become a monthly patron, like we mentioned before, or simply just share your favorite episode of the podcast. That's free to everyone. You just share your favorite episode of the podcast with a friend so that more people can enjoy the content of the Retro Rewind Pod.
Look past the flesh and see your enemy. It's impossible. Not impossible. Inevitable.
You've been listening to Retro Rewind Podcast.com/239, our review of The Matrix Revolutions. With me as your XO, PaulJPowers.com. You can find me online and all my social media links at The Meta, maybe, but really at PaulJPowers.com.
Awesome. Thank you for being an amazing friend, Paul, fellow conqueror of the Agent Smith with me. It's been
yes,
another
Mr.
awesome...
Andrew. I mean, yes, Captain.
It's been another awesome voyage with you, Paul. I have been and continue to be the captain of the pod, Francisco Ruiz, maybe the architect of the pod too. Find me on Twitter at FXRetro_, especially if you need pixel art work commissioned.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box, a curated collection of podcasts, videos, and articles that will provide you a balanced meal of content. You will find culture celebrated for its past and future, satirized for its extremes, explored in study, and created anew in story. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
But did you know we're also part of the Culture Box Media Network? You can find all the shows unpacking truth through story, comedy, and geekery at culturebox.media. With that, Captain, we are on final approach to the dock, where the machines are hopefully not trying to kill us.
Are we going to get there just in time? Hopefully they'll open the gates for us, you think?
Yeah, but we have an EMP that can destroy everything.
Well, perfect. They must need us.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, XO, and thank you for listening. We pray you are more joyful now than when you first hit play. But like a Pokemon, we gotta catch you all for our next episode of the Retro Rewind Podcast.
Retro Rewind mission complete. Proceed to nav point Omega and return to base.
Everything that has a beginning has an end.